Hey everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and it's Tuesday, Warp Tuesday, and you know what that means? We are going to show you something fun from the world of Star Trek. I was going to see if there was any relevant news that we could talk about, but, honestly, I was browsing through the various sites, and aside from a new promo that Plus put out, I don't know if any of you guys saw this, it was called How Star Trek Lives or something. It was pretty good, but I felt that, you know, watch it and you'll see it is lacking in Deep Space Nine majorly, right? Uh, but I get it. They're focusing more on like the earlier things. But we're not here to talk about new Star Trek today. We're here to talk about old Star Trek stuff. And interestingly enough, I had meant to show this all to you guys last week, and I did not have a chance. So, it gives us something fun to talk about this week. And I was able to actually, as well, get a little bit more information that way on what we're going to be talking about. And that's one of the really fun things that I enjoy doing too about. Here we go, let me get back to this. Is when I find a Star Trek thing that I've never seen before, is to be able to look it up and try to see exactly what the heck I've got a hold of. But let's start with a few other things too. So I typically always go to these flea markets, right? Look around, but I've kind of bought out all the stuff in my area, so rarely do I see anything new. This one guy, he had a bunch of stuff, but the prices were, a little bit high. He always says, I'll do you a better deal if you offer. So I made him an offer on three things, and I think I got a pretty decent deal. So here's the first one we'll look at. This is your 3D Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise D puzzle, which I will not attempt, because I don't want to break it, or honestly, I don't even want to take it out of the box because I kind of like the box. It's pretty cool. But again, it's just one of those things. It's an interesting little thing. Also, it is the Enterprise D, and I have kind of a thing for the Enterprise D. There's like this whole section right here, which is very much Enterprise D related, and that's not even all of it. It's, if I were to have to say what my favorite starship of all time is, it's the Enterprise D. So this is very cool to have. Next, this is pretty cool because when I looked it up too, I couldn't even really find this exactly, right? So this is a hologram box, a Star Trek hologram box, I should say, as it says right there. You can't get the best look at it from the camera. Look at those colors though, right? Holy crap. It's amazing. So anyway, the Voyages of the Starship Enterprise. This is from A.H. Prismatic, and this came out of England back in 1991. Now, I've seen holographic stickers, but I've not seen the holographic box. So, again, I'm not going to open it. We're going to keep the holographic box right there in its packaging and move on to the final and what is, to me, the most exciting piece. And I'll tell you why for a couple of reasons. First off, it is featuring my favorite of all time Star Trek character. Okay? And we've got a nice shelf dedicated to Mr. Spock right here. And I have a huge amount of Spock toys, an incredible amount of Spock toys up there. Some very old. I've got some of the very nice new ones that came out. I'm not going to lay claim to have every single one, but I have got so many of those danglings, right? So, what could I possibly be missing? What Spock toys are out there that I don't know about? Well, I found one. Check this out. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at what very well could be the very first Spock toy ever made. And I'm saying that actually could be the truth. What we have here is a. Let me see. All right. So these came out of Lincoln Enterprises. And Lincoln Enterprises, back in the 70s, was the Roddenberry's mail order company, right? So you could get these little things, and you would probably paint them yourselves. Check this out. This has a stand, does say Commander Spock on it. And you won't be able to make out the stamping at the bottom with this camera here, but it does say Paramount Pictures Corp, well, PPC, 1970. And this is even stamped 1091 down here. And we can't see that either. So anyway, again, these were released basically before anything else came out, right? And these are made of, what do they call, pot metal, I think. And just a quick look online, it led me to find that there's not very many of these things that are just kind of out there for sale. So I was very pleased with that, right? Again, when I'm looking for a Star Trek thing, I'm looking for, I mean, they make all sorts of new stuff all the time, and that's cool, but finding something old, something from the 70s, and I hate to say it, but the 70s, 1970, that was 55 years ago, okay? That was 55 years ago. So here's my 55-year-old Spock toy. It's pretty sweet, right? It's pretty sweet to me, at least. And I'm glad that anyone else who's interested, is here to share it with me, right? That's why I made this channel, because I have all these things. I like to find all these things. I like to look for them. I like to look up information on them. And then once I have them, I'd like to have, some outlet, man. I want to push that out into the world and be like, look at my cool Star Trek stuff. Listen to me talk about my cool Star Trek book, I just have this insatiable need to push it out there. So thank you all for listening. I'm very glad that I have people who will actually tune in and sit down and listen to me talk about my Star Trek stuff, every week. And it's just fun to know that I can sit down and have the opportunity to do that. So I thank you all for that. We're going to go and jump into some books here. Look at this beautiful bookmark that's going right here into the best and brightest. And we are going to dive in tonight and hopefully be back soon to talk about, more Star Trek books, more Star Trek toys. And don't forget, coming up next week, Star Trek Day, the 59th anniversary of the premiere of Star Trek. That's coming up on September 8th. So the next time we meet for Warp Tuesday will be the following day, and maybe we'll have some interesting Star Trek news to talk about. You never know. So, as always, my friends, thanks for hanging out and talking. Live long and prosper. We'll see you guys at the next one. Have a good night.